Sometimes when we made love, he would cry. And although I never asked, I knew that he knew why, so I'd hold him in my arms as if the entire world was within the four walls of my bedroom. Sometimes he'd tell me that he loves me with his verbal fists. And because I loved him with my real heart, I'd clean up the imaginary blood and I'd stay. And in those times, though he didn't hit me physically, internally, he'd beaten me to a pulp. I could feel my insides. They were broken and breaking. Have you ever let a man bring you closer to God than you thought possible because the problems in your relationship kept you on your knees more than a prostitute? He taught me what it was like to see man holding the beating heart in his hand. So I've been scared to write a love poem, afraid to take the clothes off my soul in a room full of people I don't know. And I guess that I was blinded by his heart made of gold. But just like even atheists consider God, even billionaires consider suicide. So we go from arguments in parking lots to sex and rental cars, from hickeys on necks to insults and threats, from fistfights to movie nights, from sharing a frozen yogurt at Newberry to I hate you and I never want to see you again text messages in February. I wish that I could forget. Forget the times we spent pulling all-nighters on his essays. Forget the marathons of the first 48, the candlelight dinners at my place, the quickies at his. I wish that love songs would go to hell. I wish professors gave extensions on exams and essays for heartbreak on second thought. I just wish his fucking heart would break. I wish he'd shrivel up and die. I wish his mother had taught him that it's never okay to lead somebody on because while you're having fun, they're falling in love. And then you leave them scared to write a love poem. I wish that he didn't love the new guy more than he loves me. I wish I wasn't scared to write a love poem so that I could tell somebody our story, tell somebody how it feels to try and live without somebody you thought you'd never have to live without. I wish I could tell you about the night that I put him out and how tears still follow because I couldn't make him love me then and I can't make him love me now. So in his absence, I bask in his memories, I wallow, and even though he turned my entire life upside down, only one thing stands out. Made me scared to write a love poem. And it's okay that he took my umbrella with him when he left that day. It's okay that he got 2 red light tickets in my cars and my walls named anyway. It's okay. It's okay that he took pieces of my dignity and my heart tucked away, but I'd be damned if I let him take writing from me. Writing is hard. It is pain and devastation in the tip of my pen. It is better than sex, more comforting than love, more filling than food. It is the only freedom that I know. So I wrote this semi-ex-love poem to remind myself that it profiteth a man nothing to gain the world but lose his soul. So even though I love him, I had to let him go. My mom never taught me that my chances of becoming the first African-American homosexual Republican judge in the state of Tennessee is probably unlikely. She never taught me that you could love someone who plays beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. They could play piano melodies and skies, trumpets and stomachs, flutes and minds. They could sing like an angel, and even though you share a bed every night, none of their music is for you. Mom never told me that you could give your heart away in a brown paper bag the way kids on TV trade lunches in elementary school. She didn't tell me that sometimes you have to love hard because love gets hard. My mom, she never told me that promises have expiration dates. That everybody, and I mean everybody, lies. That she was no exception. She could look me in my eyes at 8 and tell me that her and my dad would never separate after my aunt and uncle did. And 4 years later, she look me in those same eyes and tell me that they were separating as if she never made that first promise at all. My mom never told me that the aftermath of a divorce would lead to my 4 younger siblings crying day in and day out. Their silent tears sound so loud that I can't even hear my own thoughts. Mom never told me that a girl could gargle her own blood while her rapist pushes his fist just as far down her throat as his dick in her stomach. My mom never told me that that girl could be my own sister, that rape didn't only happen on TV and that years would pass and it would still be the topic of all my poetry. My mom never told me that guilt would consume me because I was shopping while she was gang raped in a band room. My mom never told me that God could leave me crying like a 4-year-old on the first day of school on my hands and knees I've thrown up like an alcoholic, screaming, yelling, praying, all in one breath to a God I would later find out has no ears. No ears to hear me say that I'm confused, that there are so many things that I did not know. My mom never told me that I could be the only black person in a class of 500, and that doesn't say something bad about white people, but about black people's work ethic. My mom never told me that a white guy in my literature class would come dressed as George Zimmerman for Halloween and think that that was funny. My mom never told me that my chances of getting cancer before turning 25 is somewhere near 75% because cancer runs on one side of her family, but both sides of my dad's. And while everybody was at the moon on Wednesday nights, I'd be begging God that this chemo be my last. My mom, there are just so many things that she never taught me. I'm less educated than Lauryn Hill, so we'll call this piece The Miseducation of Andre Johnson. But I think that if my mom's biggest fault is protecting me too much, then I might not rather have it any other way. And everybody said that I grow up and be wild, but no, I stand before you today proud to say that I've never been on the inside of a club, that the taste of alcohol is unfamiliar to my tongue, not a sip, not even one, that my GPA is more intact than the Virgin Mary's hymen, and that in a world where boys run trains at 15 and girls busted wide open at sweet 16s, in my 21 years, virginity had been innately a part of me. I am what a God's child would have been had he not been part God. So I'd never take part in activities unbecoming of a member of the court, because on that day when my name becomes Andre Johnson, JD, Andre Johnson Esquire, Andre Johnson Attorney at Law, and eventually Andre Johnson, first African-American homosexual Republican judge in the state of Tennessee, on that day I'll have no regrets. Now remember all the things that my mom never taught me.
How's everyone doing? Good. How y'all doing? Beautiful black butterfly, you just fly right on by, floating in the sky, floating in the sky. And they mistake your floating as a piece of freedom, not conscious that you're trying to run from the demons. Beautiful black butterfly, I see you floating in the sky. Yesterday, I caught your teardrop in the palm of my sandy hand. It healed my beige blisters as you sobbed into my neck, saying he took the one thing you had control over. I announced that I would be relaxation to your panic muscles. I stored your last teardrop in my ear to promise that I would never hear your heart sob again. I want to love you 0.2 seconds away from insanity and back. 0.5 seconds into him slamming your face into the windshield of your silver Saturn 2 days before discussing that even lunatics can make you feel good. I still love you, drenched in the sweat of an 18-year-old high school football player that still can't read. Your business clothes that now look like rags peasants and unwanted stepchildren might have. Teacher and principal racing down the yellow brick halls of our building as you manage to make it to me, laying curled on the floor. 5 seconds before you fainted. Them thinking you are dead, I am loving you in infinity as you leap into God's arms knowing that you are safe again. Please don't stay there, my best friend. I love you as you hum, sing, telling those men it was some random white guy at a gas station. I held your body full of tears, telling you to hold on, I will get you some help soon, I am here. A mouthful of gums, a mouthful of sticky red gum slithering out, refusing to be released, I hummed. He shoved a life into you. There was 2 of you, best friend. I still love you, even after choosing the plan B over the creator of all of our plans. And so, we harmonize melodies in a moment of a sweet epiphany. Our molecular misfits fall down our faces as she told me that all he needed was 7 more seconds before he would have killed me. I now trust that you understand even poems can be songs when harmonized by 2 best friends. I love you yesterday and way into infinity, my beautiful black butterfly. You just fly right on by, floating in the sky, floating in the sky. Red rose petals scraped across cement, captured under the shoes of long-distance runners, waiting to be frayed upon Traveler's Rock. The world gravels at the very ache of your name. In my mind, I beg you to stay for a moment longer. Blow God's breath upon my neck and remind me why every second is a symphony in your presence. Grab hold of my hand and take me on a mystic wonder because you already have a hold of my heart. If we part, tectonic plates may stop shifting and Korea and the U.S. may be forced to stare each other in the eyes, reflecting one another's lies, lying separately but in each other's mental space. I chase to erase what we may never be. Created BC. Created BC, they stare captivated by what we have, unable to understand this love that is way before their time. In minutes and in rhymes we keep ticking. Hands that tell love what time it is. 10:15, our souls are 15 minutes late. I'm one hand too short, one broken string away from a guitar's perfect chord. Won't you stroke me physically? We need each other and you know it. I light up your eyes when night has I light up your eyes when night has clouded your honeymoon shine, tipping me over my tolerance level. I fall back into you over and over again. I will sail across sea to carry a part of you in my safe place. You lace verses on me, copywriting this free enterprise just as a reminder that you can never let me go. Sign your name on this dotted line and let me know that this love is real. Don't marry another lady because she came a little faster. 7 days and 7 nights together, we are God's favorite number. Don't call on another when we begin to wrinkle and burns don't heal like they used to. We belong with each other. My love, our love should be interlaced tighter than African two-strand twists and with time entangled more than a Rasta's dreadlocks. Love so unknowingly practiced because it's natural to us. Shades of the African Peter should get lost in our iridescent amity, becoming a liquid motion, painting a beautiful picture, understanding that it will fade, but trusting that it will evolve, more resilient than the red belly of the Peter Anglo-Nieces. Our love should be made for one another, like two hydrogens and one oxygen element compounding, because love is the most available mass over this soil, like element 8. Our love should be ordained by God as He christens us with raindrops and washes our feet with natural oils and perfumes, in appreciation for the divinity we allow to transpose between us. My love, my dear, you are red rose petals scraped across cement, captured under the shoes of long-distance runners, waiting to be frayed upon Traveler's Rock. The world grapples at the very ache of your name. In my mind, I beg you to stay for a moment longer. Experience God's divinity, if only for a moment longer.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank the E-Board for all of their hard work. I want to thank my family and my friends, just everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To those who have grown with me before, you're still alive. Praise God.
Thank amen. Hallelujah.
And, you know, if Pop That's on the playlist, it's already a good playlist. Okay, but really tonight, I just hope that, like with any of my poems that I write, I hope that you get something from it. I hope that you are able to take something with it that you can carry on in your life and that inspires you to do better or to make changes or something like that. That's what poetry has always done and been for me, and I really hope that that's what it will be for you tonight. Okay, let's go. My tragedies are my inspiration. If I'm ever in a state of desperation, just cannot write a word, I'll live in verse just to see where it takes me. I play with fire just to get burned and use the ashes for my work. I'm in a state of post-devastation, a state of pre-manifestation of dreams. So let me remind you that everything and nothing is ever as it seems. And all these realizations simply means that I have poetry for days, short stories for months, and novels for years. I am the troubled writer that every parent fears and every hurt child holds dear. I'm on a roll with these words. I can feel them slipping through my fingertips. I can really get a grip on these sentences. They are diminishing my demons because when I am staring at them, I feel like I am the one in control. This is me in beast mode. I have just unlocked the code and I'm about to explode or implode. I'm not sure this is what I just know. That I thank God for these words invading my ears on this late night. I just know that I thank God for this poem. It reminds me while the caged bird sings. This next poem I've often been referred to as a relationship poet. A lot of my poems are about relationships and love and people and just my involvements with them. So if I had to say which love poem was my favorite, because I probably have like 100 of them, I would have to say it is this one. This right now would be my favorite love poem. And it's called The Overthinker's Guide to Love.
Yes.
This is for every this is for every overthinker, male and female. Think themselves in a circle so much that they forget the sound of their own heart. This is for you. Step 1. You cannot avoid love. It is inevitable. Love will sneak up on you in the worst way, like an old woman who you decide to get a ride home to, and who ends up thanking you by placing a gun to your head, forcing you out of your car, and driving away with it. All you can do to protect yourself is to become a psychic so you can see the future and call the butterfly effect. Step 2. Love is friendship on fire, and you will be more than willing to burn. Why you lie to yourself that the premature ventricular contractions are all in your head or are the result of the stress of school or an interview for a job instead of the person you find yourself always being and wanting to be around. You will stop thinking about what could go wrong and believe that it's all right. You will flow down rivers that lead to ditches and graves for broken hearts. You will commit the greatest crime an overthinker can commit. You will stop thinking. He was able to get me to stop thinking. I lived in the moment for the first time in 20 years. The best you can do is to make sure that your mind is on overtime, that you analyze them so much, you forget they're a person, think they're feeling right out of your veins. Step 3. If you have gotten this far, I just want you to know you've messed up. You're more than halfway to the point of no return, and when given the opportunity to leave before the going gets tough, you will keep going. Feel free to slap yourself, because you will start to become happily accustomed to them being there. The sound of their voice will pull the strings of your heart. Their very presence will be enough to send you into space and bring you down to earth all at the same time. I was used to him being there. To his hugs, my fingertips touching his skin, never too far away from my reach. And when he distanced himself, I found myself still reaching for his grasp, but only holding on to air. If you find yourself here, leave. Block their number, unfriend them on Facebook, and unfollow them on Twitter. Rationalize it to the point where you truly believe that you're doing the right thing. Step 4. You didn't leave. You dove into the ocean even though you can't swim. You allowed them to know you from the inside out, and they have allowed you to do the same. You have memorized the shape of their body, their scent, slept in the same bed and dreamed throughout the night and woke up to the same sun. You know what they like behind and in front of closed doors. You want more of them. Their past, present, future dreams. You want to know the person they don't seem to be. Sometimes it's ugly, but you love them anyway. I love him, flaws and all. This is the point of no return. The best you can do now is give yourself time to think, stop and think. Exaggerate their negatives in the hopes that you'll think yourself out of loving them. Step 5. You admit to yourself that you're in love and that they don't love you back. You rearrange the memories and realize that you were only friends who commit to giving each other benefits, nothing more, nothing less. It becomes painful to feel them pull away. They do it slowly, like the pulling off of a Band-Aid has overstayed its welcome on your skin. They stop. Every now and then when they see you wincing, comforting you with I'm sorry's and promises that they never intended to keep. And finally, they rip it off quickly as they tell you that you're not the one and proceed to talk about how perfect another woman is. I expected him to be different. But at least my past heartbreaks left me prepared. This is the only time when I will instruct you to not think. Do not think while this is happening. Shut down so they cannot tell you feel and only turn on the next day. Turn on early in the morning off the anger and sadness and pain rush back to you in the form of a headache. Your bed will be the only one who knows the truth, and you will still maintain the little dignity you have left. Step 6. As time passes by, you find yourself praying, and it gets easier to know that they don't think about or miss you, that they will never cause your phone to ring or be the reason you're out of gas again. You speak to them in public like nothing ever happened, like there's no history of what you two had in God's storybook. You're okay with loving them and them not loving you back. You accept it and hope that they are happy and can find someone who they can be happy with, even if it is not you. Love is not selfish. I am love, so I am not selfish, not even when it comes to him. If you have gotten this far, continue praying, think about all the good times you have shared with them, replay them like movies and fall in love with them all over again. Forgive yourself for wishing they would play into your romantic comedy fantasies, and forgive yourself for wishing that they would. And finally, thank them for showing you that even an overthinker can be reminded of the sound of their own heart, and for making sure that you never forget. With that poem right there, I actually never intended to perform this poem, and I actually kind of edited some parts out because I did not want you all to be able to identify the person I'm speaking about. So, but the first time I ever did perform it, I had someone come up to me and she told me that she almost cried. And she asked me, how did I get over it? And the truth was, at that time, I wasn't over it. And I'm not sure I am yet. And what I told her is that you don't go through those steps, in that kind of order. You're going to be all over the place. One day you might be step 6, and they say you step 1. It's like you fell in love all over again. You don't know what's going on. And I told her the best way is just to take your own pace and take it day by day. Yes. Because when you honestly love someone, you don't just stop loving them. So with that poem, I guess it was just my way of kind of dealing with my heartbreak with that particular person. And it really helped me. It really helped me. So that's my favorite love poem right there. So this one right here that I'm about to do, it's a little bit about me, maybe a side that some people haven't seen of me. So here we go. Just call me Miss Work in Progress, Miss First Draft. You see, I'm not even a bad girl. I'm just a good girl who's rough around the edges. I'm just crazy beautiful, depending on how you choose to look at it. And for my sake, I hope it's the rose-colored glasses. So here's where I'm at right now in my life. My bed and I, we're in a long-term relationship. And people, school, church, any and everything that requires me to lead the love of my life is getting in between our relationship. With that being said, sometimes I never leave him, and I will refuse to do things and cancel in order to be with him. You call it lazy, I call it being committed. And I tend to cover my talents like some women cover themselves in modest clothing because I don't want to shove my talents in your face, just my thighs would help with push-up around my cleavage. Plus, I love to give, but sometimes wonder what someone is going to give to me. It's like sending someone a gift in the mail and hoping that they return the sender. But I don't want people to give to me because they feel obligated to, or because I asked them to, but because they want to. Everyone around needs to be able to read my mind so they can give me what I want without me ever having to tell them. Because honestly, isn't it all about me? I feel like it's all about me. I mean, everything that happens in my life happens around me, and if you love me, you'll put my needs before your own. And yes, I'm single. And yes, it may be because I'm a little guarded. My heart has barbed wire that will electrocute you if you try to come near. I refuse to tell you about my past because you don't need to know that anyway. And even if it was you specifically, I'm blaming you for every bad thing any man has ever done to me before I even met you. But honestly, I don't know why I'm single. I'm really trying to become to top it all off, I'm really trying to become a daughter that God can be proud of. So I'm trying to stop cursing, but seem to forget that every time I hit my big toe or something. I've committed to celibacy until marriage. This is the fourth time I've had to start over because my body was hungry and thought that the guy with the great contest knew just what to feed us, but he didn't. I'm trying to spend time with God, but sometimes I'm tired and I don't really feel like shaving my legs and putting on that church dress or reading the Bible. And why does it seem like he talks to everyone but me? I keep talking to him, but it feels like he never answers. But that could be because I never shut up and listen. I'm a little rough around the edges, and I'm not going to be fixing a day or a week or a month, maybe not even a year, decade, may take a decade, but that's okay, because I'm working on it. And even though I'm not perfect, God loves me anyway. The first person I performed that for was Kendra, and the second person was my mother. When my mother heard, she said, "You really like that?" And I was like, yes. I just try not to show it to you too often. So I decided, I guess it would kind of happen because one day I was just feeling bad. I was like, dang, I'm selfish. I like attention. I be mean. And I was like, you know what, let me just write a poem about this and make fun of myself. So that was basically the inspiration for that, because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. And instead of just kind of beating yourself up about it and just feeling guilty, sometimes you just need to laugh and just pick on yourself a little bit. So that's what I did. Okay. And I'm going to throw you right back into the serious now. Rape victims are guilty until proven innocent. They are nothing more than two made-up faces attached to bodies whose breasts say, okay, so let me see them today. And whose skirts allow their vaginas to play peekaboo with every man in the room. We're so quick to believe a woman who cries rape. It seems we've forgotten the story of the boy who cried wolf. And with so many women making false claims, how do I know that the woman getting a rape kit done because the college football player supposedly went too far isn't doing the same? After all, he's a good man. The only one who dared to stand out among the rest, the only color in a black and white portrait who chose to throw balls instead of sling dope, gave his single mother hope in every time I see him. He embraces me with genuine smiles and how are yous, and yet I'm supposed to believe that rape is something he did. There's a thin line between stop and go, between rape and consensual sex, between yes and no, so then your pinky toe might accidentally cross it. The same when you accidentally go through a red light when you could have swore it was green before. Women give men the green light when he's making it rain with free meals and shopping trips with a promise that trip down her lover's lane will soon come after. But suddenly their mind changes when no longer rains or they play peekaboo and hide and seek, claiming surprise when he plays hide and go get it trick please. Manipulating men with your assets will only earn you a spot in the Teaser's Hall of Fame. You forget that your game has winners and losers. The only game that rape victims play in is the blame game. And that game is orchestrated by every man and woman in this audience who believes that women who were raped carry responsibility for it. If you find yourself nodding and saying yes to the victim blaming BS that I just spit, then I need you to go home, hover over the toilet, stick your finger down your throat, and pray to God that you regurgitate all the lies that this rape culture has taught you. And if you remember the story of the boy who cried wolf in its entirety, we remember that when there were actually wolves, no one listened and his flock was destroyed. Society is holding us down and stripping us of reality. Painting pictures of women with exposed breasts and too short skirts who tiptoe into bedrooms and lay legs spread on the bed, then wake up and claim rape instead. The rape victim looks like me, your mother, sister, grandmother, maybe even your brother. She can be as covered as a nun or as exposed as a stripper, no matter the case. She does not ask you to strip her of her security, rights, and control of her own body. And the rapist, He looks just like your homeboy, your son. Don't fool yourself into believing that just because someone walks an old lady across the street that's telling you the sun shines out of his behind, keep playing your game of blame. At least only 46% of rapes being reported and only 3% of rapists ever spending a day in jail. Just don't forget that your game has winners and losers. That poem right there was written for one of Poetic Lyricism's major shows, which is called Death of Ignorance. It is usually in the fall. Death of Ignorance is a show in which we present controversial topics to you through spoken word, and we kind of like shake things up a bit. The intent of it is to make you think, to make you feel uncomfortable, to make you question your beliefs and stuff like that. So definitely be on the lookout for that show. The reason why I chose that poem specifically was at the time, I constantly ran into people who had been sexually assaulted. And it was never reported, or, they just never dealt with it. And the more people I ran into, the more I started hearing that people around me or things might have been the ones who committed it. And it just was crazy to me because not only did I start running into that, I started running into people who were like, well, if she wears this, it's kind of saying that, and if she did this, it's kind of saying that. And to me, that's dangerous. It's dangerous when we're playing the victim blaming game, because why is the question always, why did you allow this to happen? Why isn't the question to the person who did it, like, why did you do this? Because we wouldn't have to worry about allowing things like that to happen if people never thought to commit them in the first place. So, in my opinion, not just with rape, but with a lot of things in society, our focus should not be on how to protect the victim, but more so how to prevent the attacks from even happening in the first place. So, I definitely feel like our focus should be on the rapist and less on the rape victim. Who cares what I don't care if she was naked twerking on a birthday cake. If she didn't personally say, come home, baby, then it's not your business to be there. So, and the same thing goes for men too. This happens to men as well, and it doesn't even get spoken about really. So that's definitely why I chose that poem.
Real. My nigga. Other than God, I am the only person who has been with you since you were in the womb. I am you. But in your mind, we are split as if we were not created by the same God, fathered by the same man, comforted by the same mother's hands. You think that I am better than you. That because I am no longer ashamed of my natural hair, that because I have finally stopped running from God and started running into his arms, that because I have managed to keep my legs closed, that because I have finally gained some confidence, that because I am not you, you think that I am better. There is nothing better about me. If it was not for you, if it was not for that young woman who laid in beds that weren't hers with men who didn't belong to her, who looked to escape into fruity alcoholic drinks, who gave her heart to people who crushed it in their bare hands over and over again and walked around with her bleeding heart on her sleeve, there would be no me. We are one and the same. Do you not look in the mirror and see my face staring back at you? Janae, I love you. Don't blame yourself for the past anymore. Don't bury your head in shame. Let bygones be bygones. Leave all the chopped and screwed memories of the past in God's hands. Be free. You are only human, and I forgive you. Just please stop using your photographic memory to hang on to the negatives of the past. God has enabled me to take new pictures. Gaze at those. I am not better than you. Without you, there would be no me. I apologize for the moments where I forced you to struggle with the cracks in your reflection and caused you to forget the grace and mercy that was shining through them. God loves you. I love you. And you were and always will be beautiful to me. That piece right there, I always used to think about what I would say to my younger self, and it usually come out like, you was stupid. Like, I don't know what you were doing or thinking. And then I realized, had things not happened the way they happened, or certain events didn't transpire, that I might not have been this person right here. I might not have been sweet. I could have been completely mean. I don't know. I might not have known a lot of things about life. So at the end of the day, you have to thank your past self for your present self, for your future self. Because in the end of the day, those experiences help to make you who you are. It's up to you on what kind of effect you allow those experiences to have on you. I had also wrote another poem like that, but definitely this one is a more up-to-date one, and it's not like my favorite one to myself. So I'm gonna go ahead, and this is like the last poem. It's actually called Why Poets Lie. A lot of times when I perform poetry, I have people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, you were so honest. And I'm just like, yeah, and I guess they're not really, I don't know if they're used to that or not or what, sometimes it's hard even for poets to get on stage and like basically just open up their soul to you and tell you what's going on with them. So here's why poets lie and why I don't, or why some poets lie and why I don't. Most people can't tell, but I'm usually ashamed of my poetry, of the way it puts my scars on display and forces me to air my dirty laundry for all to see. These audiences, like God, are allowed to know me intimately in a way some of my loved ones don't. My pain forces me to write honestly, scribbling into notebooks, typing on keyboards, performing for the audiences. I am ripping my heart out, placing it in your hands and praying that you don't break it. And I worry that you'll judge the rhythm of my heart in the way it contracts, or worse, you'll tell me it's too damaged and you give it back. Because the truth is, we're all perfectly imperfect, but like to pretend that we don't sin. That somehow the cracks in our mirror aren't as bad as everyone else's, or that someone else's mirror is so broken that it can't be pieced back together. I guess this is why people find it so hard to open up these days. We tend to put people on trial for being human. But I still get in front of you and spit honestly in spite of it all, because secrets kill unless you kill them first. Exposure is their end, and they can't fully be put to rest until you break the hold they have on your life. So I tell people I'm fine when I'm, I tell people I'm fine when they ask how are you, instead of saying that my highs are getting lower and my lows are getting higher, because I have been taught that being honest about our pain and asking for help makes you weak, so I suffer silently. I pray that others learn to love unconditionally as God does, because most people in my life seem to love me with boundaries that I always cross and conditions that I never meet, so they stop loving me, and I spent most of my life wondering if I am even worthy. I promise you, if you listen, if you read, you will discover my broken pieces, the hidden parts of me. Maybe my secrets, my skeletons look like yours, talk like yours, act like yours. Maybe they are yours. If we share the same skeletons, why not bury them together? Let's be free. With each and every poem I spit, I will bring my skeletons out of my closet and slow dance with them, reminding you that you are not alone, in the hopes that one day you'll release your skeleton and finally have the courage to bury them. The reason why I chose those 6 poems was because I felt like those had an important message. I felt like those were very near and dear to my heart, and that they described just, I don't know, my entire process over the few years, from, you know, the Overthinker's Guide to Love, all the way down to bearing your soul on stage in the hope that it helps someone else. I've learned that sometimes you don't go through things for you. You go through them so that one day you can comfort someone else going through the same thing. It's not always about you. And realizing that, I was kind of like, you know, because I was always like, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? And seeing what my poetry did to people and how it helped some people, I realized that it's not always about me. It's sometimes about others. So I didn't look at this show as being about me. I looked at this show as being for you all, as me giving something to you and trying to give my all. I wanted to be rewarding to the executive board. I wanted people coming in here to feel, hopefully, that they were blessed with something valuable. And that was really just kind of how that was the attitude that I took along with it. So I really do hope that you took something from it now. I really do hope that something impacted you. I really do hope that you come to Poetic Lyricism Show, because it's the best performing arts organization on Florida State University. Definitely. I'm going to do a quick plug for them. They have P.O. Cares coming up, as well as State Poets Love too. So definitely, you know, come out, see them. There are more poets like me, poets who are better than me, definitely. But like, definitely, please come out to see them and enjoy them and support them. And I just once again thank you all for coming out here. If you have any questions for me or want to talk to me afterwards, feel free to do so. Thank you to the executive board. Thank you to the audience. Thank you.